Welcome to part 5 of the Budget Bonsai Workshop for Beginners. In this video, we're going to begin trimming the roots in preparation of repotting our bonsai. I'll put a link in the description of this video to a playlist for all of the videos in this workshop. Another way to finely manicure your tree is to find the new growth buds and cut the buds off. On these junipers, it's best not to pinch the buds. That could cause browning. Just go to the base of the new growth bud and give it a little trim. And here's why we do that. Remember, in step 1, we shorten the branches. That's not only for scale and shortening the branches to make the plant smaller, but it also redirects energy. That's a big part of bonsai, is redirecting the energy. Right now, the roots are taking up energy from the soil and the nutrients in the soil, and the leaves are generating energy via photosynthesis and sending it to the roots so they can grow and take up more nutrients so the limbs can grow. And we want to redirect the energy to make our bonsai tree have a larger trunk. We want that pyramidal shaped trunk eventually. That makes the tree look very old when it tapers out at the bottom. And we're helping the tree, our bonsai tree, to do that by removing the request for energy out here on the ends that we're trying to make smaller anyway. And we're redirecting it to make the limbs heavier. Okay, go ahead and finish up what you got going there. I'm going to get my repotting material and I'll be right back with you. Man, these trees are looking good. I've got my repotting material ready to go. I'm going to just take that right out of the nursery pot, set that aside. And now we're just going to remove all of this nursery soil. I'm going to start by raking away from the trunk, loosening that soil up. Feels a little abusive, but actually it's good for the tree. Just repeated jabbing and pulling to break the dirt loose. It's a little looser toward the bottom. I saved this nursery soil for other plants, but it's not going to be in the bonsai pot. The bonsai soil is much different, as we'll discover here in just a second. And sometimes it's completely inorganic. It doesn't have any actual soil in it. It's more of a substrate. For a beginner soil, I like to include a little bit of organic material, whether it's potting soil or finely ground mulch chips, peat moss, something that retains water a little longer than the inorganic mixes do. So basically we gave the top of our tree a haircut, and now the tree's out of balance. It's got all of these roots that were formerly supporting all of those leaves and branches that aren't there anymore. So we're going to bring the tree back into balance by also reducing the length of the roots. This is going to help the plant fit into our bonsai pot. I'm going to use a bonsai training pot. It's a little deeper than ordinary bonsai pots because we can't remove all of the roots from the tree. We're going to have to leave a good amount of roots, and then when we repot, we'll be able to remove more roots and repot into a smaller, shallower pot, which again is going to make our tree look older by making the trunk look larger. So it's just a matter of artistic composition and achieving that while keeping our tree healthy. So these junipers are very hardy, very good plant to work with, but probably a good rule of thumb is to only remove 1/3 of the roots at a time. So if you had a very long root ball like we do here, It might take 3 years to get it into a shallow bonsai pot, and that's okay. That's okay. So these heavy roots are for anchoring. They don't offer a lot of nutritional value. These small feeder or hair roots are important to the plant. And we want to find the main taproot and remove it. Make sure we get that main taproot out of there, or else we'll never get it into a pot. I have a nice pair of root cutters for bonsai. You may need to use your heavy pruners once you locate your taproot. I'm being very careful to hold my tree in a way that I won't damage the branches that we've just styled. If you've ever seen an old tree with the roots growing on top of the ground, man, it looks cool. So we can also do some, as the tree gets older, some root pruning and shaping to achieve that as well. I'm just raking away from the trunk, kind of combing the roots out. Making sure I cut the end of the root off, not the beginning. There we go. Let's see if it fits in our pot. A little wide, we'll trim it up just a little bit more. Almost there. There we go. The bonsai pot has large drainage holes, so we've put in a little bit of screening to keep the substrate from falling through and only let the water drain out. So I've got some pre-mixed bonsai soil here, and this has some expanded clay balls often used in aquaponics. It's got some granite chips, a little bit of vermiculite mixed in with some peat moss. So it's probably 1/3 organic material with the peat moss and 2/3 inorganic. Everything adding space in the soil so oxygen gets to those roots. I'm going to cover the bottom of the pot with the soil, and then I'm going to mound it up under the trunk. So my trunk is going to be a little off center, so I'm going to mound up some extra dirt for the trunk to sit on.